Virgo, have you felt it long before they return? Your soul already knows no message, no warning, just a lingering dream, a familiar song, or the number 222 repeating like the universe is whispering, "Look deeper." You're caught between moving on and waiting for something you can't name. But this isn't coincidence, it's energy. A karmic thread pulling tight because a door is about to open. This is your spiritual checkpoint, and the choices you make now won't just shape your future, they'll ripple through your peace, your truth, and your soul's alignment. So, stay with me, this isn't a prediction. It's a remembering. This isn't just another reading. Virgo, this is a sacred pause, a moment Spirit has been weaving behind the scenes, because your soul is overdue not for more pressure, but for a release, for a truth that finally feels like home, and for the freedom to become who you really are, not who you had to be to survive. Let's talk about the tension you've been carrying. Virgo, you've been standing at this invisible crossroads for longer than you'd like to admit. And honestly, it's exhausting. You've tried to act like everything's fine, telling yourself you're just being cautious, just weighing your options. But deep down, you know you're stuck. Not because you don't have choices, but because you're afraid of making the wrong one. You're the sign of precision. You think 10 steps ahead. You analyze every angle, and that's a gift. But right now, it's also the trap. Because sometimes, Virgo, clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from choosing, from movement, from trusting that even if you take a wrong turn, you'll learn something vital, and that's worth more than standing still forever. Let's be honest. There's a part of you that already knows what you need to do. Maybe it's walking away from a job that's slowly draining your spirit. Maybe it's closing the door on a connection that's become one-sided and heavy. Or maybe it's finally allowing yourself to dream again, to believe that you can actually have the kind of love, purpose, or peace you keep putting off for someday. But here's the challenge: the longer you stay in limbo, the more it chips away at your confidence. It makes you question your judgment. It keeps you rehearsing every possible outcome, trying to control pain before it even happens. And that's no way to live. Virgo, you're not meant to survive your life. You're meant to participate in it fully. And yes, choosing is scary, especially when you're the one who always holds it together for everyone else. You don't want to let anyone down. You don't want to make a mistake that can't be undone. But let me ask you this: who's holding space for you? Who's making sure you're not the one being left behind in your own story? This is the real challenge in front of you, not a person, not a situation, but the belief that your peace can wait, that your dreams can be delayed, that your heart should take the back seat to everyone else's expectations. What if you stopped doing that? What if today is the day you say, "Enough. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to move forward. I deserve to not just get by, but to feel alive in my own life again." Because Virgo, your time isn't coming, it's here. And the only thing between where you are and where you want to be is the decision to move. Let me tell you something else. Virgo, avoiding the decision doesn't protect you. It drains you. It's like leaving a tab open in your mind that never stops running. And every day you delay choosing, that tab eats up more of your energy, more of your joy, more of your ability to be present. You start second-guessing even the small things: what to say, who to trust, whether you're doing enough. That fog you've been living in, it's not confusion, it's avoidance, and it's costing you clarity. I know why you do it. You've been burned before, you've chosen before, and it didn't turn out the way you hoped. So now, you hesitate. You want a guarantee, a sign, a flashing light from the universe saying, this is the right path. But the truth is, most of the time, that sign only comes after we move, not before. Spirit waits for us to trust ourselves first. And the beautiful thing is, Virgo, You're closer than you think. You're not starting from scratch. You've been gathering tools, insights, lessons for years. Everything you've lived through has prepared you for this moment. You're not walking into the unknown empty-handed. You're walking in with wisdom, with boundaries, with clarity about what you will and will not accept ever again. So maybe this is the moment you realize the challenge isn't the decision. It's believing you have the right to choose, to leave a place, a role, a pattern that no longer fits the soul you've become. What happens next isn't just about courage, it's about permission. Give yourself permission to stop waiting for perfect. Give yourself permission to say, I don't know what's next, but I know this isn't it. That single truth can be the most freeing thing you've ever spoken. Let it start now. Let it begin with one deep breath and one small yes to yourself. Because Virgo, your healing doesn't start when everything's certain. It starts the moment you stop pretending you're okay with staying stuck. There's someone from your past, Virgo, who's making their way back into your energy. You can feel it, can't you? It's not always direct. Sometimes it shows up as a dream, a random thought, or that strange wave of emotion that hits you out of nowhere. But it's them. Spirit says their energy never really left. And now, they're circling back. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are they returning because they've grown, or because they know you're the one who never stopped loving deeply? This kind of return isn't always romantic. It could be a friend, a family member, someone you once trusted, someone who saw your value only after you were gone. The thing is, when Virgo leaves, it's never impulsive. You give people chances, you explain, you show up, you wait. So when you finally walk away, it means you really tried, and that energy leaves a mark. Now they're realizing it. They're feeling the absence of your consistency, your grounding presence, your quiet loyalty. And maybe now they want another chance. But Virgo, you have to ask, are they coming back for you? Or for what you gave them? You've grown since then. You're not in the same place emotionally, spiritually, or even mentally. So if this person returns, you don't owe them immediate access. You owe yourself honesty. Check in with your body, your intuition. Does the thought of reconnecting bring peace or tension? Is your heart opening, or are you shrinking? Because sometimes what feels familiar isn't love. It's just a pattern. And you've worked too hard to break old cycles only to start them all over again. This is a test of boundaries, not forgiveness. You can forgive someone and still not let them back into your life. You can wish them well and still protect your peace. And that's not bitterness, that's wisdom. So if this person reaches out, don't react. Pause. Listen. Let their actions, not just their words, show you who they are now. Because you're not just choosing whether to reconnect. You're choosing whether the future you're building has space for the past you already survived. Let me add this: if you do decide to engage with this person again, let it be on your terms. This time around, you're not bending to make others comfortable. You're not over-explaining, over-giving, or overcompensating for their lack of clarity. You've done that already. You've seen what happens when you put your needs last, and you've learned. So if they come back, they better come correct, with accountability, with changed behavior, with actions that match their words. Because you're not looking for perfect, but you are looking for real. And real means effort. Real means presence. Real means consistency. Because this is your story now, and you get to write the next chapter. You've been standing in the middle of a crossroads, Virgo, and the weight of it is real. On one side, there's something that feels safe, familiar, maybe even expected. On the other side, there's something that stirs your heart in a way you haven't felt in a long time. But it's risky. It's unknown. And for someone like you, who thrives on certainty and clarity, that can can feel overwhelming. The truth is, you're not just choosing between two paths. You're choosing between two versions of yourself. One that's used to playing it safe, calculating every move, keeping emotions in check. And one that's tired of all that. One that wants to feel again, to love, to leap, to live fully without a safety net. And you've been asking the questions over and over in your mind. What if I choose wrong? What if I get hurt again? But Virgo, what if you don't? What if this is the thing that finally sets your soul on fire, not in a chaotic way, but in a deeply healing way? See, the Lover's card isn't just about romance. It's about alignment, about making the choice that reflects your values, your truth, not just what makes sense on paper. And the Hanged Man reminds us that sometimes clarity comes only after surrender, after we stop fighting the moment and start feeling into it. You've waited long enough. You've analyzed the pros and cons 100 times over. But what does your body say when you think about each choice? Where do you feel tightness? Where do you feel relief? Your heart isn't here to lead you into chaos. It's here to bring you back to yourself. So maybe the question isn't, what if I get it wrong? Maybe it's, what if I finally get it right? Because you're not choosing from fear anymore. You're choosing from healing, from wisdom, from a place that knows your peace is worth protecting and your joy is worth pursuing. And whatever you choose, whether to stay, to go, to leap, or to pause, just make sure it's a choice that honors the you that's been growing quietly behind the scenes. You're evolving. You're just one decision away from a completely different life. Virgo, there's something deeper going on here, something karmic. You're not just dealing with another emotional situation or casual connection. This is a soul contract, a karmic tie that's resurfacing because there's still something unfinished. And maybe that's why it feels so intense, so familiar, almost like déjà vu, like you've been here before. Because in a way, you have. When you meet someone and it feels like you've known them forever, that's not just chemistry. That's memory. Soul memory. You may not recall the details, but your energy does. And that's what makes this so complicated. You're not just reacting to what's happening now. You're responding to echoes of past lives, unfinished lessons, old emotional debts that haven't yet been cleared. The universe doesn't bring these connections back around just for drama. It brings them back because you're ready now. Ready to see something you couldn't see before. Ready to choose differently. Ready to close a loop. Or maybe even to rewrite the story with more clarity, more self-respect, and more healing this time. But here's the thing about karmic connections, they're not always meant to last. Sometimes they show up like a storm. They rattle everything, awaken your deepest emotions, challenge your old patterns, and then leave you changed. They break you open so you can rebuild stronger. So if you're wondering why it's so hard to let go of this person, even when things don't feel right, that's why. It's not obsession, it's energy. It's the pull of a lesson that's still in progress. But Virgo, you are not stuck. You have free will. You get to decide how this story ends. Maybe you give this one more chance, but with boundaries this time. Maybe you walk away with love, knowing the lesson has been learned. Either way, don't run from it. Face it, feel it, understand it. Because once you do, the pattern loses its power, the loop breaks, and you finally get to step forward without that energetic weight. And that, Virgo, is real freedom. This is also where your growth shines through. In the past, maybe you chased clarity from the other person. You begged for closure, waited for explanations, or tried to fix things that were never yours to heal. But not anymore. Now, you're seeing the bigger picture. Now, you understand that some endings are sacred. That closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself when you stop needing them to explain why they couldn't meet you where you stood. So here's what Spirit wants you to know. This person isn't coming back to save you. They're coming back to show you how much you've saved yourself. Let their presence be a mirror, not a magnet. Let it reflect how far you've come. And if a part of you still wants to go back, just ask yourself this: am I returning because of love? Or because of the version of me that hadn't yet healed? Because the healed you, the real you, they're not looking for loops. They're looking for liberation. And you? Virgo, you're almost there. Let's talk about control. Virgo, not the kind you hold, but the kind that's been used against you. You might not even realize it at first, because it often comes dressed as logic, as calm, as someone who just wants to be rational. But deep down, something always felt off. You were silenced without being told to be quiet. You were made to feel like your emotions were too much, like your needs were inconvenient. That's the energy of the reversed King of Swords. Cold, detached, calculated, the kind of person who knows exactly how to twist a conversation to make you question your memory, your worth, your truth. And Virgo, because you're so thoughtful, so willing to take responsibility, you probably internalized it. You thought maybe you were the problem, maybe you were overreacting, maybe if you just explained it better, they'd finally understand. But the truth is, they understood. They just didn't care to make space for your voice. And that's not love. That's control. That's manipulation. That's a power dynamic disguised as communication. And you, Virgo, are finally waking up from it. You've spent too long making yourself small so someone else could feel big. You've played the peacekeeper, the fixer, the one who bends so the relationship doesn't break. But now you're starting to see the cost, the anxiety, the emotional fatigue, the loss of your own voice in the noise of trying to keep things together. This isn't about blame. It's about truth. And the truth is, you deserve reciprocal energy and soul-deep peace. You deserve relationships where your feelings are met with compassion, not correction, where your vulnerability isn't used as leverage, where love feels like freedom, not like walking on eggshells. This is your moment to reclaim your voice, to set boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-respect, to stop explaining your worth and start embodying it. Because Virgo, when you stop making room for manipulation, you make space for real love to finally find you. And that kind of love, it doesn't silence you. It sees you. Think about the times you wanted to speak up, but stayed quiet. The moments you sensed something wasn't right, but brushed it off because you didn't want to rock the boat. That wasn't weakness. That was survival. But now, you don't need to just survive anymore. You're in a new chapter 1 where your safety, your clarity, and your truth get to take the lead. And maybe the person who once made you doubt yourself is still around, or maybe they're just a voice in your head now. Either way, this is your chance to rewrite the story. You get to decide who has access to you, who earns your energy, and who no longer fits into the healed version of your life. Because the most powerful shift happens when you realize you never needed permission to speak your truth. You just needed to remember that it mattered. Let this be that moment, Virgo. Let's talk about something that probably hits close to home, the belief that you can't have it all. Somewhere along the way, you were taught that love and success couldn't coexist, that if you chase one, the other will suffer, that if you focus on your dreams, you'll miss out on love. Or if you give your heart to someone, your purpose will get sidelined. But what if that's not true? What if that's just an old story that no longer fits the version of you that's waking up now? Right now, you're standing in front of big possibilities. Maybe it's a career move you've worked hard for. Maybe it's a creative project that finally has momentum. Or maybe it's a relationship, one that feels safe, soul deep, and like it actually supports your growth instead of distracting from it. With cards like the Sun, Ten of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles. The energy around you is strong. This isn't just about potential, it's about manifestation. Spirit is showing that you can have stability and love, legacy and passion. But the key is this: you've got to believe you're worthy of it. You don't have to choose between your heart and your goals. You get to build a life that holds space for both. And if someone in your life is making you feel like you have to shrink one part of yourself to keep the other, that's not alignment, that's compromise. And you've done enough compromising. Imagine waking up every day knowing that the work you do matters, that it feeds your spirit and not just your bills. And at the same time, coming home to a love that feels like peace, not performance. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when you stop settling and start demanding that every part of your life meets you where you've grown. So, Virgo, dream big, love fully, build wisely, and trust that the version of life you've been secretly hoping for, it's not just possible, it's already within reach. Think about the times you played small, the job you stayed in too long because it felt safe, the relationship you held on to even when your soul felt starved. You did those things because you thought you had to choose, because somewhere along the way, you were told that people like you, people who care deeply, who serve others, who lead with heart, don't get to have the big, beautiful life, that it's too much to ask. But it's not. You're not too much. Your dreams are not too loud. Your desires are not unreasonable. In fact, they are the map. The roadmap to the life you were born to live. So don't dim your light to fit into small spaces. Don't push away love because someone once told you success means sacrificing connection. And don't shrink your ambitions because you're afraid it will scare someone off. The right people, the aligned ones, they won't be intimidated by your glow. They'll be drawn to it. You've done the inner work. Virgo, you've earned this new chapter. Now let yourself receive it. This is it, Virgo. The moment that everything's been building toward. The tension, the signs, the sleepless nights, they've all led you here. There's a shift happening, and whether you're ready or not, Spirit says it's time to move. Someone from your past might be coming back, yes. But this time, it's not about them. It's about you. It's about whether you've grown enough to look at that connection through new eyes. Can you see the difference between love and attachment now, between loyalty and self-sacrifice? Because that's what this climax is really testing. You might receive a message. A conversation may unfold. Maybe it's a confession. Maybe it's an apology. Maybe it's just closure. But it will stir something in you. That's why the energy feels so intense, because this is karmic release in real time. The cards speak of revelation. Something hidden is about to come to light. A truth you sensed but couldn't prove. An energy you felt but didn't have words for. Now, it's surfacing, and it might shake you. It might even hurt a little. But more than anything, it will free you. You've been strong for so long. Virgo, you've carried the weight of trying to keep things stable, peaceful, and predictable. But now, you're being asked to release the grip, not to lose control, but to allow alignment. To trust that what falls away is not meant to punish you, it's making space for something greater. And maybe that's what growth really looks like. Not dramatic endings, not big announcements, but quiet knowing. The peace that comes when you no longer chase what doesn't choose you. The relief of finally listening to your intuition and honoring it. So when that phone rings, or that text shows up, or that door reopens, breathe. Don't react, don't rush. Let your clarity answer, let your healing speak. This moment will show you just how far you've come. And trust me, Virgo, you're going to be proud of what you choose. You may even surprise yourself in this moment. The old you might have answered right away, chased clarity, begged for truth, but not now. Now you recognize your worth doesn't depend on their explanation. You don't need to prove your side of the story anymore. You're not here to convince anyone of your value. You're here to live it. Let them come with whatever they need to say. Let the words land where they will. You, Virgo, are grounded. And that's the shift. That's the power. You're no longer waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. And as the dust settles, you'll see something you never expected: peace. Real peace. Not the kind you perform for others, but the kind that finds you when you finally let go of what kept you small. So breathe through the moment. Let the energy move through your body, and know that everything you felt, everything you've questioned, it mattered. It shaped the wiser, stronger version of you that's standing here now. This is more than a climax. This is closure. This is reclamation. So here we are. Virgo. You've walked through uncertainty, faced old patterns, and stood at the edge of hard truths, and you didn't run. That alone is something to be proud of, because healing, it's not pretty, it's not polished, it's messy, quiet, and often lonely, but you did it. You showed up for yourself. Maybe clarity didn't come wrapped in a perfect sign. Maybe the closure wasn't clean, but you learned to sit with the questions, and that's what opened the door to real growth. That's how you shifted from surviving to choosing, and now you're no longer moving from fear, you're moving with purpose. You've proven that you can hold space for your own evolution, even when no one else clapped for you. That's powerful. That's transformation. And the universe noticed. The energy is shifting in your favor, not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you've become stronger, wiser, more aligned with what actually serves your soul. So what comes next? Keep going. Keep trusting that your path is sacred, even when it's unclear. Let your boundaries speak louder than your explanations. Let your intuition be louder than your fear. And let love, real love, whether in the form of people, purpose, or peace, find you when you're no longer chasing it. This is your invitation to rise, to dream again, to open your heart, not from a place of desperation, but from overflow. Because when you heal, you stop settling. When you're whole, you stop begging. And when you trust yourself fully, life meets you with the exact energy you've become. So if this message resonated, let the universe know you're ready. Say it out loud. Write it down. Claim your next chapter not with hesitation, but with intention. Because Virgo, this is not the end. It's the beginning of the life that finally fits you. And if you need a reminder down the line, come back to this message. Let it ground you. Let it remind you of how far you've come, not in results, but in resilience. You've changed. You've chosen yourself in ways that might not be visible to others, but are deeply felt by the universe. You're no longer here to play small, apologize for your light, or negotiate with your worth. From now on, it's about alignment over approval. It's about truth over temporary comfort. And it's about letting your life reflect the healing you fought for day by day, breath by breath. So let today be the day you stop doubting and start declaring. Let your presence become the proof of your becoming. And if you're ready, say it in the comments, write it in your journal, or whisper it to your reflection. I am not who I was. And that's a good thing, because now you're ready for everything that's been waiting for you.